All right, I have returned to the same errors. All right. Okay, so I think what I would like to do is, as tempting as it is to like take the old codes and clean it up and all of that, and that would be kind of like effectively a bottom-up approach, right? Where I implement all the little helper functions that I know I will need, and then I get up to this. I've already kind of started a top-down approach where I'm like, okay, here's the main function that encompasses everything. Here's how we break it down into just one function, not really broken down, but we've taken care of all of the kind of the infrastructure theoretically, except not really, because we haven't defined some things. And then we take that and we break that down and go from there, and then implement the smaller functions as we go, which would be a kind of a top-down approach. And I think I want to roll with that because I'm tired of seeing these red errors. So let's implement this. So what do we need? So I made a to-do file. I think I'm just going to execute. I'm going to do the things that I said I wanted to do for starters. So one of the things I'm doing with this project is I have a set of JSON schemas. Oh yeah. So I have a set of JSON schemas for different kinds of things that go into the database, into DynamoDB. So here's the JSON schema for the episode record. And so it has things like ID, title, description, order index. We're not getting highlighting because it doesn't realize that schema file is a JSON schema, but that's fine. I don't need that. So we have like tracks, and we have stream ID and cut list, and then there's actually I think other things in that record that like things that I am storing that I don't have in the schema yet, and I should fix that at some point. But what we're gonna do is we're going to add the things that we said we needed to add. So like these things. So we have YouTube video ID, and that's just a string, right? So there is not a Twitch video ID. That's not how this works. Upload attempts. I think it was worthwhile. Like we spent, I don't know, 30-40 minutes kind of thinking through where do we want the logic of this stuff to live, and that was important to determine whether or not this needed to go into the record or not. And so I think we've landed on this living in the record. Yes. And then we want upload status. And those are statuses. Those are not the statuses I want though. So I want failed, success, and throttled. Like we're not going to put a status while the upload is happening. We don't need that. So that's fine. Oh, that's redundant. And then error message is just a string. And then retry after seconds is an integer. And you can see here the only thing that's required in this schema is the ID. So that's fine. And so what's the point of all this, right? Okay, that's great. It's in the JSON schema. Well, I have a program that I've set up, and I have a VS Code task that this is using, what is it called? QuickTypes? Let's see. Oh, it doesn't actually say the name of the program. But basically, let's see. Tasks.json and glowing telegram. Types. Oh yeah, it runs import.sh, which runs QuickType. That's what it's called. And so this generates Rust and TypeScript types from my JSON schemas, which means if I look types.rs, or there's TS as well, but let's look at the Rust one. And I look for episode. So, hey, look, there's error message. There's retry after seconds. There is upload attempts, upload status. So we have an upload status enum. How do I go to the F12? Yeah. And so we have an enum for that. Okay. So that was the first thing I thought I should do. And then the other thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to move this initialize app context that we have. We don't need that to-do list anymore. So we have this render job. So we have a bunch of like Lambda functions and also code that's intended to run in a Docker container, just in general. And this is one of them, this render job crate, subcrate within Glowing Telegram. And it has this handy little thing called initialize app context. And we can't use this directly. I mean, maybe we could. We do need a DynamoDB client and S3 client. I think we also need a secrets manager client from AWS. So, like we can't use this directly. I wonder if it's possible to make a generic version of this that we could use. Maybe so. Like it would need to be a generic. It would need to be generic over some thing that would be app context like. That we would then need to be able to implement some function on. How would that? How would we do that? And where would that live? Do I have a subcrate? I have GT Axum, GT FFmpeg, GT secrets. Why isn't everything prefixed with GT add? It just seemed like these generic things, these reusable things, it would make sense to GT something for Glowing Telegram. So I guess I'll make another lib crate called GT config cargo new lib GT config. Where's my underscore? It's right there. Config. Context or config or app. Names are hard, right? App. Do I want to attempt to generify this? Like, what am I saving? Basically, like these lines. How does it know that we're after a config? It's right, because we're saying that config needs to be a config that matches the type for app context. Okay. I mean, the alternative, right, is I just copy this into the other file. But here's the thing, it's like these lines of code are copied in a bunch of different places already. And I would like a way to not do that. yeah, let's just call it GT app. Yeah. And so we have a lib.rs with some stuff that I don't care about. And then so the we're gonna copy this and then we're gonna fix it. Is I think gonna be the strategy. So this is gonna be the thing. So we cannot, like, we don't have app context, and we can't define what app context is because it needs to be different for each user of this function. So what we really need to do is we need to do something where we call, how do we make a trait? Yeah, not like that though. Something that takes a config and gives back itself. Hold on, let's attend to the fact that the cargo.toml doesn't have a description. Hold on. Common. So, Clippy, yeah, okay, so great. But what's a config? Let's see, so I think for generic things on traits, we do this. Is that, no, is it the other way? Look, I know some Rust. All right, and so this crate does depend on Figment. What else does it depend upon? Whatever, it's AWS config. Yeah. Not specifically secrets manager or anything like that. Oh, that's not a thing, right? Because it's dash. What does region provider chain come from? Okay, from config. Great. So, we should be able to start fixing some things. Let's see. This is something that we're going to return something that implements app context. I think that might be real syntax. The squiggly lines will not go away until we save the file. Save. No, doesn't like it. Oh, right. So we need, this needs to be generic over something that is a config. And then I guess we do that. Cool. All right, that was accepted. That's great. And then we do that. And then it's like, but wait. So the thing that is config needs to implement deserialize, or the words to that effect. I don't know. How do you say that? How do we say where? Let's see. Well, first of all, we don't have Surdy. and we haven't imported either. So we can fix one of those things. Okay. Oh, okay. I don't know about deserialize owned, but how about just deserialize? Oh, okay. Lifetime generic things. Consider introducing a named lifetime parameter A. If we did that, no, let's see. Have I mentioned I'm not a Rust expert? It still doesn't like it. Okay, the trait bound. I see that error. Consider adding derived to serialize to your exclamation type. For types from other crates, check whether the crate offers a survey feature flag. Yeah, so the helpful hints, right? But just let's look for full compiler diagnostic, right? So oh. Do we just say this is of type config explicitly? Well, that might make the error clear. Config survey to serialize is not satisfied. Okay. Config the trait bound config survey to serialize is not satisfied. Consider restricting type parameter config with the trait deserialize. Right. We are saying the trait app context has a config. Is this something where we need to constrain it here? Hold on, let's get rid of that for a second. Okay. The same thing about the. Wait, can we just do this? What's wrong with this? Cannot be used here. The reserve lifetime. Okay, great. Good job. Okay. Why does it jump around so much? You go up and then it goes away. Okay. Okay. Are you happy now? Missing lifetime specifier. This function's return type contains a borrowed value. Cannot satisfy. What if? Can I get rid of this now? Okay. Type annotation is needed. Cannot satisfy. Right. So, no, I don't think I can do that either. No, it's the same thing. Okay, so it's inferring correctly that that's what I'm trying to do. Consider specifying the generic arguments, T and figment error. Hold on, let's figure something out here. Let's say we return X. Say let X be that. Okay, so what is the, okay, so it doesn't know what X is? Why not? It's a thing that returns, oh, right. So, okay. I think I see. So we need an app context Uh-huh. App context. Okay, and then that's going to be upset. So then we have to say something like, where does this where live? I think it's before. Yeah, that. No, it's after the parents. Before. Also, it helps if I type words correctly. Wait. Like that? How does this work? Okay, let's go back to some. Wait, is it after the return signature? Where app context implements. Is it no, that's not like that. It's like this, right? Expected trait found type. Okay, right. So we have A, where A app context config. Okay, and then result is A. Yay! And this needs to be public to make it happy. Docs for okay, so we don't have docs. We have unused variables because. I think this is supposed to, like, we need to give AWS config to this as well. Change this to AWS config, and then well, let me fix the thing first. So first thing is new needs to take AWS config, and now that's happy, and then we can go back. We don't need this kind of like putting it inside of a variable. That was more of just to be able to troubleshoot what was going on. So cannot find. Hold on. Oh, it's SDK config. SDK config. There you go. Cool. And then just ignore the multiple versions things. I still not figured out how to fix that. And then this should have documentation. Let's not do example. Can we do arguments? There are none. Returns. What isn't happening? It's missing errors. Okay, is Clippy happy now? Yes. Happy about that. All right, so we made a generic way of initializing the app context. Is this a good name for this function? I don't know. Oops. Rename symbol. Create app context. Set up application context. Build app environment. Configure app state. Create app context seems nice. Let's use that. Okay, so I think the first thing that I should do is figure out how to implement this for render job, right? Because this is where we're taking from its job utils, right? So if we have this app context, what we need to do is we need to do a couple of things, right? So in glowing telegram, in cargo.toml, I'm going to add an entry called GT app. There we go. And that's going to let me, inside of render job, go to cargo.toml. We're going to add GT. It could have been common. The app equals workspace true. Oh, yep. Copy that. And then over in upload video, we're going to do the same thing in preparation for using this. Okay. And then in job utils, what we're going to do is we're going to say, yeah, implement app context, except no. The naming is going to be a problem, actually. So let's go back to here. And you already saw that, right? Where I was like, oh, we'll call this app context, but no, this is, but more so, it's likely that I have a bunch of structs called app context that I want to implement a trait. So this, what is this trait? I don't know. I'll call it context provider, just because. And that means I want to implement context provider for app context, right? And so then the distinct part of the logic that I need to implement is really just this bit here, right? How do you construct an app context given these two arguments, which is the AWS config and the config. And it's like that. And this can infer the generic argument for context provider because we're referring to this config here, which is the config that we defined up here. So then, like, we've transformed however many lines this is into slightly fewer. But more so, we can do that. We can do that every single place, right? And so then, oh, I'm a liar. We do need to provide the generic config. Okay, great. So then, in main.rs, we want to construct app context. Yeah, and it can't find that because it's not called that, is it? What is it called? Create. It's called create. Who says you have to have good memory to code? All right. Actually, let's. I mean, I could import it, but I think I'd rather just do like this. All right. Sweet. This is what I wanted to accomplish. So that every single time I need to do this, I don't have to recreate initialize app context. We can just do this. Now, it's interesting. Right, we don't have an app context, and it doesn't know what app context is. But that's fine. So what I'm gonna do, I guess right now, I'm gonna implement this all in here. So we're gonna do. What do I need? I need. Let's start with making a struct called config, and we'll need some configuration. I'm not sure exactly what yet. What do I need? I need like a drive macro. And I need deserialize. What do I need? Hold on. Control-Shift-T. Control-Shift-T. I guess it is in job utils. So debug, clone, deserialize. Let me just borrow this real quick, so I can remember what I need to do here. Right. So we need a config. We need an input bucket. So I'm gonna call this episode render bucket, right? I am using the same bucket for where all of the output stuff goes, and in other places I'm calling it the output bucket, but I think in the context of this job, it's really where the episode renders are is the most important thing. And this is gonna be the episode table name. Yeah. So those things I definitely need. And then we need a YouTube secret something. Now I'm doing somewhere else. Hold on one second. Somewhere I'm doing something interesting with this. Yes, where it's like maybe not. Yeah, it's just the secret horn. Let's just right. So here, user secret path provider. Yeah. All right, because this is the authentication lambda. Right. User secret path provider is a thing that I wrote that combines the Cognito user ID and a prefix. Do I want to do that? The idea, so what is this all about? What am I thinking about? What am I doing? So I implemented authentication both to Twitch and YouTube, and that's two parts. One part is the application-wide authentication. Did I do that for YouTube too? For what? Yeah, I did, right? Where when you log in, when you auth to YouTube, it saves the access and refresh tokens on a per user basis. But the quotas are for the whole, like the registered client, the kind of top level thing. But when we're uploading through that per user credential. So I do think I want to use the user secret path provider. Which means I want this here. Is that going to be sufficient? Right, let me go back to the old code. Which tab was that? It's that tab, yeah. So when we're making the request to YouTube to upload, what are we sending? I think we're just sending the access token, right? We don't need to send the client ID again or anything like that. It seems like no. Because if we need the client ID, then we have to pull the other secret that has like the app level credential stuff. But I think it's just the access token. Okay. So. All right, we need to, hold on, let's save. It's gonna yell at me and we can import it. And we need to import serialize. Okay. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to refresh my memory of how this works, right? So we provide the secret path for the struct. Yeah. My screen flashed really quick. It's kind of odd. But anyway, let's get rid of this bot. Bye. Alright, so, right, so we provide the Cognito user ID of a user. Huh, how's that going to work? How is that going to work? So a thing we don't have right now. Ooh. Right. Right. Actually, let's make this a little bit more concrete while I'm talking about this. So if I go over to Secrets Manager, the secrets that I'm talking about, this is where credentials are being stored to talk to YouTube, right? So here is GT YouTube user, blah, 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 blah. And as long as I don't click this button, you won't see the access token. But the application code is going to retrieve the secret. So it has to have this user ID. Now, a thing that I don't have right now is anything that ties any of the records in the database to a user, right? So right now, everything that's in the Glowing Telegram app is not tied to a specific user. There's no like access controls or ownership of data. I have just not gotten to that yet. The most important thing that, you know, in terms of authentication initially was just like preventing the whole world from being able to like go into the app and cost me a bunch of money, basically. So we gotta have authentication, but like authorization or tying data to user records isn't there yet. But maybe this is the first point where it really needs to be, because for us to figure out which credential to retrieve to upload the video to YouTube, we need to have a user ID. So yeah. And that will be combined by using, like, we can use config.userSecretPath dot whatever this is, secret path, and we pass the user ID, right? And that will combine the prefix with the user and get the whole thing. So that means in the data that's being passed to upload video, which is the episode record, there needs to be a user ID. So I need to go back to episode, that schema, and we're gonna add a user ID. I think. The other way of doing this, and I think one of the things I was thinking about before, is instead of having that information on the individual database records, to have a separate place where we're storing who owns what. If we did that, that would mean that this job that's going to upload would need to ask who owns the episode to this thing that doesn't exist yet, and then go from there. So I think for now, I'm not going to solve that problem, and I'm going to put in a short-term solution, which is I'm just going to add a user ID field, like so, and a trailing comma, because this is JSON, and then we're just going to rerun the generate types. And so none of these fields I'm adding are required, so it's not in this list. At some point we may make things required, but it's all very loosey-goosey right now, and that's good enough. This job will read the following fields from the episode record. Just taking a note of what we need to obtain, right? So let's see, if we look at types.rs, we can find that episode again. So what do we need? Well, to do the upload, we're gonna have to send a bunch of data to YouTube as well. Let's put that over to the side. So we're gonna need things like title, description. It's not called video S3 key. It's called, and we're not going to do order. Like eventually we'll do something with order index because we'll want to put the video into a playlist. But for now, we're not doing like the playlist things or putting a thumbnail. Those are things I want to eventually do. So we have title, we have description, we have. We're gonna need to read upload attempts to know how many upload attempts we've made to then drive like the stuff down here. User ID. A thing that is not listed here, but we do need to have on the episode record. Like if we go look in DynamoDB, there is a field called render URI. Is it a URI? It's just a path now, but there you go. So we're gonna go back to episodes. We're gonna add more things. This has just been a work in progress as I've been, backfilling information, things that I have been putting in the record. That's a string. And then what else do we have? We do have a created at. I could add a created at. Yeah. There's no deleted at, but there is an updated at. Theoretically, there could be. I think there's always a created at, but I'm not gonna put it because this schema is used in a bunch of different places. I'm not really locked down. Like a thing you could have is like one schema that's the things that are required to create a record versus what is required to be in a record that you retrieve from the database. I've not defined that yet, so the only thing required is ID. What else do we have going on here, right? So I said render ID, render URI. Oh, I already added that. Yeah, I added that before. Tags. Tags are something that we potentially want to bring over. We can. Tags. So it's an array of strings. Again, no trailing comma. Regenerate types. There we go. All right, so now we have more fields. Okay, cool. So probably want tags. We want, why is my phone thing? Silly. Yeah. What was that? Interesting. Oh, right. It's generating some hallucinated tags. Okay, anyway. Tags and what else did I want? We have user ID, we have tags. Render URI. That's the other thing that we need to retrieve from the record, right? In order to drive the process of uploading to YouTube. And there might be other things in the future, but this is fine. This is a start. So, where were we? Right. So the trait bound app context GT app context provider is not satisfied because context provider is not implemented for app context. Right. So we're trying to define these structs. We do need a DynamoDB client. We need an S3 client. We also need a secrets manager client. That also probably means that we need some stuff in cargo.toml for those things, unless I already did that. I already did that. Excellent. And what we need to do is we need to implement context provider for app context. And there it is. Except we need to import that. There you go. Or fix the name anyway. I guess there's no underscore between secrets and manager. That's redundant. And from conf, huh? Creates a new client from the service config. Hey, please help me. How's it going? Welcome. What is this? From conf creates a new client from the service config. Oh, I see. So this is something else. Okay, so this is not how I want to define these. Now we want to do this. Semicolon. That. Oh yeah, AWS config is what I'm calling it here. And then it's expecting a reference. Okay, I can do that. Cool. All right, so then we rewrite the other two to be the same way. Maybe we'll be good. Yeah. All right. So this allows this upload video Rust program to be able to pass in all of these different AWS clients and the application config, and have it at runtime. What am I developing? In short, right now, I am, this program specifically is something that's going to upload videos to YouTube for me. Is like, there's a lot more context about like the overall application. I actually have a command for this. There we go. So there's a whole, like, I made a little video of like the overall application, what kind of bot. It's not a bot. It's taking, like, this program is part of a larger program, but this program itself, you give it a video. So I have a process for generating videos based on my streams, and it takes the video and it uploads it to YouTube. Is what I want this program to do. So it'll take, I have a record in the database that's like, here's where the video is located, here's what the title should be, here's what the description should be, here's where the tag should be, and then it pushes it to YouTube. And it does like 99% of stuff, or I say does, but the goal will be that it will. This will won't yet do some things that I would like it to do. So generally when I upload videos to YouTube, I have a playlist of like a series of videos, and so I will eventually want the video in the playlist. It's not going to be able to, as far as I can tell, the API doesn't let you add the overlay on the end to like click this to go to the next video. Is there any AI used for the title, descriptions, and tags now? Yes. So the overall program, let's see, do I have this? Here we go. So let's go back. So within this, this is the UI for the overall program called Glowing Telegram. And the AI comes in. Here's an example, like here. So here's an episode record. And so the title and description here were generated with GPT-4. So I have this little chat button, and what this does is that I have other AI. I'm using OpenAI Whisper to take the speech track from my video. It does transcription on it, and so like for this, let me take a step back here, right? So this episode, I selected from a stream. So this was a stream from December 1st of last year, so a few months ago now. And this episode is composed of the section of video from 2 hours and 6 minutes to 2 hours and 52 minutes in that stream. So like 40-ish minutes of video. And the idea at some point is I will be able to like cut many individual segments of video to feed into this. Right now, it's just like one contiguous piece. And with the chat button, it is all kind of still a bit manual, where I have to go into each thing, but you can see here, like, here's the transcript from that section of the video. And so what I can do is if I click the start button, it sends the prompt and the transcript to the OpenAI API. And you can see here is what it generated. So it generated a title and a nice long description based on the transcript of what the video had in it. And then I can click the button to use the messages. This is what I did when I was generating this video a while ago, right? So like in this video, I delve into the continuation of work on the stream info editor for the streaming admin and dashboard front-end project, right? So this is a fairly accurate description. Share stories about past programming projects. Yeah. So this is an accurate description of things that I think happened like 3 months ago. That's nice. So there's data compression and video compression use. That's what about editing and all? Yeah. I mean, most of the actual work with the video is happening using FFmpeg. So if I go back to the stream, I have a little, I call it a video editor component. It's not that fancy quite yet, but if we go to that, and if I pick one where I've actually rendered the file, oh, that was one, okay. So like I have a video player so I have like multiple stages of video processing where we're using FFmpeg to do silence detection on the audio, to extract keyframes for like thumbnails, for generating HLS video, so that I can have like I can see the video and I can navigate in this little editor. And then I'm using FFmpeg to generate the output video that gets uploaded to YouTube. So most of that is just like shelling out to FFmpeg to do the work. And yeah. So like you can see here, I also have a bunch of stuff where it's like it's scanning the transcript and identifying interesting parts of the video. And this is so eventually I can get to the point where it is like cutting interesting sections and splicing them together. And so the overall goal is to eventually have really an AI-driven stream to YouTube video processing pipeline. I'm just doing it in parts, right? So like the whole idea with having this admin interface is to be able to look at the data and to be able to test individual parts of the pipeline, and eventually to have like one nice UI that's rolled together that you just like click go. It shows you this view. It notifies you of like when all the processing is done. It shows you this view. You can review what it's done. It's already selected, like here are episodes, and you say export, and then it takes you to the next screen, and it's like it'll take 3 hours to render these videos, and then you can review what it produces, push it to YouTube. You do a little bit of stuff in YouTube because there's some stuff that's not automatable, and then you have a YouTube channel. Where exactly is it stored and processed huge amount of data takes place? Yeah, so what I've been working on the last couple of months, all of this was running locally on my machine, which had problems because I couldn't run this while I was streaming or doing anything else, and it had to be babysat. So the last couple of months I've been doing a big rewrite to move everything into AWS. So the raw video, the audio extract, the rendered video, it's all being stored in S3. So like here's a place where I have a couple of 1 gigabyte output files, and then I'm using Docker and a combination of a service called AWS Batch for like longer running things. Some of these things take like minutes to hours to run, and so I can run on like EC2 Spot instances, which are fairly cheap. I can get a discount. Yeah, S3 is a really great choice. And then the things that take less time, like the stuff for serving the front end, or rather for like APIs that the front end calls to do stuff, I'm using Lambda, and then it's all like 99% of it is Rust. I have a little bit of Python for like some glue code, or it's just like I don't want to hassle. It's like 5 lines of code I can throw into a Lambda, and then the front end is all TypeScript. Yeah, so there's a lot going on to make this all work, and it's a project that still there's a lot to do, but on the other hand, like I said, this has been a bit of a rewrite. Getting it up to YouTube is kind of the next step. But Twitch wants to run some ads. Maybe you're already seeing that. If so, sorry. I'm gonna be back in just a couple minutes. I gotta stretch my legs. But when we return, more coding. So, be right back.